Good morning students, hope you all are doing fine. So in the previous lecture, we solved a few questions on match the columns based on the patterns asked in various exams. So in today's lecture, we will discuss a few more questions and even solve some previous year questions asked in various competitive examinations like IB-based PO, SBI PO and so on. So let's continue from where we left. So let's start. So let's continue. So here's the next type of question asked. So let me first read out the instructions given. In the following question, two columns are given containing a connector and three phrases each. In the first column, the phrases are A, B and C, and in the second column, the phrases are D, E and F. You have to make meaningful sentences using the connectors and from the phrases of both the columns. There are 5 options, 4 of which display the sequence or sequences in which the phrases with the connectors can be joined to form a grammatically and contextually correct sentence. If none of the options given forms a correct sentence after combination, select none of these as your answer. So, I hope it is clear. Fine. So, here is the first question based on this type. Start solving. So, is it done? Let's discuss. So, here the connector given is on account of. We use on account of to introduce the reason or explanation for something. For example, the president declined to deliver the speech himself on account of a sore throat. Fine. So, is it clear? So, now coming back to the question, part A talks about hurricane and part E further elaborates on it by saying that the hurricane was the reason why their flight got cancelled. Thus, they both make a pair. Thus, we can rule out options C and B. Now, note this is important that B and D, they form a pair, but they do not require a connector to connect them. Therefore, clearly option A is the correct answer, that is A and E. So, hence the correct sentence would be on account of the hurricane our flight got cancelled. So, I hope it is clear. Now, moving on, solve the next one. So, is it done? Let us discuss now. So, here the connector given is not only but also, or the conjunction given is not only but also. So, let me first read out the parts given in each column. Column 1, part A, the street door of the rooming house was unlocked. Part B, the thieves stole the jewels. Part C, the staff at the consulate seemed insensitive. Column 2, part D, the staff was professionally inadequate. Part E, they smashed up most of the valuable furniture in the room. Part F, the street door of the rooming house was wide open. Now, not only but also is a correlative conjunction. It is used to connect and emphasize two words or two phrases at the same position. Parts A and F tell the characteristics of the street door of the rooming house. Parts B and E tell what the thieves did, and parts C and D provide the characteristics of the staff at the consulate. Hence, the above pairs can be combined using not only but also to form grammatically and contextually correct sentences. The sentences formed will be The street door of the rooming house was not only unlocked but also wide open. Next, the thieves not only stole the jewels but also smashed up most of the valuable furniture in the room. Next sentence, the staff at the consulate seemed not only insensitive but also professionally inadequate. Therefore, option D is the right answer choice. Fine. Now, moving on, let us solve some previous year questions asked in various competitive examinations like IBPS PO, SBI PO and so on. So, here is the question given. It was asked in SBI PO. Let me first read out the instructions given. Direction for questions 1 to 4. In this question, 2 columns 1 and 2 and 3 sentences are given which are divided into 2 parts. Column 1, A, B and C consist of the first half of each sentence and column 2, D, E and F consist of the second half of each sentence. Match column 1 with column 2 so that the sentences formed are both meaningful and grammatically correct. Choose the option as your answer. Fine. So, here's the first question. Try solving it. So, is it done? Let's discuss. Let me first read out the sentences or the parts given in each column. Column 1, part A, protesters chained themselves to the old church. Part B, positioning himself carefully. Part C, after getting into the computer, the hacker. Now coming to column 2, part D, allowed the man to escalate the wall and escape through the field. Part E, in an attempt to stop the construction crew from being able to demolish it. Part F, will have been able to disable the device and make it unusable. So, clearly option D is the correct answer, that is part A and part E, and part B and D form a meaningful sentence on joining. So, clearly part E is continuation of part A, and on joining they form a contextually and grammatically correct sentence. Same is the case with part B and D. So, I hope it is clear. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Now, moving on, here is the next question. Solve it. So, is it done? Let's tally. Let me first read out the parts given in each column. So, column 1, part A, because it is important to know the altitude during a jump. Part B, with no way to curate such a large collection of Roman relics. Part C, blowing out the flicker quickly the boy was able to. Column 2, part D, the museum overseer hired another supervisor to oversee the set. Part E, snuff out the candle and hop into bed before his mother walked into the room. Part F, a skydiver should use an altimeter to determine the distance above land or sea. So, the correct answer is option C, that is part C and E, and parts A and F. They form a meaningful, contextually and grammatically correct pair. Parts B and D can be connected, but it is grammatically incorrect. So, I hope it is clear. Now, moving on, solve the next question. So, is it done? Let's discuss. Let me first read out the parts given in each column. Column 1, part A, it is easier to ship goods by plane than. Part B, the farmers export their. Part C, air traffic controllers direct planes. So, column 2, part D, that they move about safely in the sky. Part E, by boat since not every city is connected to a waterway. Part F, surplus crops to many nations. So, clearly parts A and E can be connected, but it is grammatically incorrect due to the usage of base form of the verb connected. Now, parts B and F form a coherent pair as F mentions what the farmers export. Also, parts C and D could have formed a coherent pair contextually, but the use of the adjective safe instead of the adverb safely to qualify the verb move about makes the sentence grammatically incorrect. Hence, clearly option C, that is parts B and F, is the right answer choice. Sentence formed would be the farmers export the surplus crops to many nations. Fine. So, is it clear? Now, moving on, here is the next question, solve it. So, is it done? Let us discuss. So, on carefully reading, parts A and D form a coherent pair, parts B and F also form a contextually and grammatically correct pair. Now, parts C and E also form a contextually correct pair, but it is grammatically incorrect due to the presence of past participle of stay to state a rather universal fact which is stated in the present tense. Hence, clearly option E, that is parts A and D and parts B and F, is the right answer choice. So, the sentence formed on joining would be, it was too dark to explore the grounds, so the crew was forced to return. Now, next sentence, our migratory neighbors live in the Caribbean half the year. Fine. So, is it clear? Now, moving on, here is the next question. Let me first read out the instructions. In the following questions, 2 columns are given containing 3 sentences or phrases each. In first column, sentences or phrases are A, B and C, and in the second column, the sentences or phrases are D, E and F. A sentence or phrase from the first column may or may not connect with another sentence or phrase from the second column to make a grammatically and contextually correct sentence. Each question has 5 options, 4 of which display the sequences in which the sentences or phrases can be joined to form a grammatically and contextually correct sentence. If none of the options given forms a correct sentence after combination, or none of them connects, mark E, that is none of the above, as your answer. Fine. So, is it clear? So, here is the first question. Start solving. So, is it done? Let us discuss. So, on reading carefully, it is obvious that parts A and E and parts C and D form a meaningful, contextually and grammatically correct pair. Hence, option 4 is the right answer. So, on combining, the sentence would be, the collegium has now repeated its recommendations, emphasizing that there is nothing adverse against the 2 judges in terms of their conduct, competence and integrity, and that there is no reason to agree with the government. Next sentence, the Supreme Court is keen to fill up the current vacancies. Fine. So, I hope it is clear. Now, here is the next question, solve it. So, is it done? Let us tally. Let me first read out the parts given each column. Column 1, part A, it is true that the filling up of vacancies is a continuous and dash, and part B, were tensions in trade policy to flare up again, comma, it could result. Part C, the cost of these tariffs will after all eventually be. Now coming to column 2, part D, the collegium system of appointments is a major concern. Part E, borne by American consumers and could result in the US. Part F, enlarged disruptions to global supply chains and pose downside risks to global growth, comma, the IMF warned. So, on reading all the parts carefully, it is obvious that parts C and E and parts B and F form a coherent pair. Parts A and D do not form a contextually as well as grammatically correct sentence on combining. Hence, clearly option 3, that is part C and E and part B and F, is a correct answer choice. So, on combining, the sentences formed would be, for tensions in trade policy to flare up again, comma, it could result in large disruptions to global supply chains and pose downside risks to global growth, comma, the IMF warned. And the next sentence, the cost of these tariffs will after all eventually be borne by American consumers and could result in the US. Fine. So, is it clear? So, that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's lecture. Thank you.